Hey guys, today we're going to learn how to make a magic Lego. We're going to use something called parameters here in OnShape. So the first thing I'm going to have you guys do is go ahead and create a document. I'm going to go ahead and give it a name. I'm going to go ahead and call that Lego. So the thing that's going to be different about this one is we are going to create, again, what's called parameters. What these parameters do will allow us to define things like how many dots are on it, so like an 8 by 2 or a 4 by 2. It'll also let us do the height or, any number of values. So we're going to first start out by clicking this little X here. We're going to define our parameters first. Now, the first parameters we're going to do are going to be length and width. So be careful how you type them, because how you type them is going to be how we're going to have to define them from here on out. So if you misspell the word, you're going to have to misspell the word until the shape is done. So I'm going to give the length. I'm going to select a number, name length. So select a number, name length, value of 4. Going to go ahead and hit the check. Next, I hit the variable again, the X. It's also going to be a number. This one's going to be width. I'm going to give it a value of 2. Our next variable is going to be low. But before I do that, I'm going to make sure I have my correct units. So Legos are actually measured in millimeters. So I'm going to go to my 3 bars. I'm going to change my workspace unit. So 3 bars, workspace units. I'm going to go to millimeters. So now when I select my variable, you notice on the value it says millimeters instead of inches. So here I'm going to type in low. My value is going to be 3.2. So I'm under length, name low, value of 3.2. My next variable I'm going to name high, and my value is going to be low. So I'm going to start typing in low. Notice this autofill comes in. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It adds a hashtag. Times, so the times is the asterisk, so shift 8. So low times 3 is my equation for high. So it takes 3 low bricks to equal 1 high brick. And now my final variable is going to be height. And I'm going to type the word high because I want my brick to be starting at the high dimension. So notice again, I started to type the word high because it's a variable. I'm going to go ahead and select that. So it has hashtag high. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. You might have to hit the check mark twice when you're using an equation or referencing another variable. So you should see length 4, width 2, low 3.2, high 9.6, and height 9.6. That's what you should see over here on the model tree. Next, I'm going to go ahead and hit sketch, and I'm going to start on my top plane. I'm going to make a center point rectangle. Going to go ahead and select my origin as my center, and then I'm going to move my mouse outward to create my rectangle. Next, I need to dimension. D, dimension. I'm going to select my length. So I clicked on my length, click to place it. Now I'm going to type an equation. So I'm going to start my parentheses, shift 9. I'm going to start typing the word length. Then I'm going to reference it by clicking on it once you see that autofill. So it's going to be length times, remember times is shift 8, length times 8, end parentheses, shift 0, minus 0.2. So it's length times 8 minus 0.2 is my equation. And then I'm going to hit enter. You should get 31.8 as your value. Next, I'm going to dimension the vertical line on my rectangle. So what I'm going to do with that is my equation for this one is going to be width. So I start my parentheses, remember starting at shift 9. So parentheses width. So notice again, I clicked on it to get my width, times 8, and parentheses, minus 0.2. So it's width times 8 minus 0.2. And when you hit enter, it should give you 15.8. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and extrude. My extrusion is going to be height. So where it says depth, I'm going to change that to height. So notice I started typing the word. It gives me a suggestion. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then I'm going to hit accept. You might have to hit that twice in order to get it to accept. I'm going to hide my planes. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select this top surface here as my new sketch plane. So I selected sketch, I selected this top surface. Going to change my view to the top. And I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to put the circle in the upper left. That circle is going to be 4.8 in diameter. Now I'm going to dimension the center of my circle as 3.9 from both sides. Again, notice when I'm dimensioning to the center, I click the edge, I click the center, I move my mouse, click to place it, and change the values. So the diameter is 4.8, and it should be 3.9 off of both sides. I'm going to extrude this. So again, extrude, selecting inside the circle if needed. And this is going to be 1.8 for your extrusion. So notice I'm not using any of my references here because those need to be the same distance no matter what size the Lego is. So those are using actual values. So 3.9 from each side, diameter 4.8, extruded 1.8. So that's just one. Now I need to put multiples on top of this surface. So to do that, I'm going to use rectangular pattern. So in this program, it's called linear pattern. So it's to the right of your hole. I'm going to change this from part pattern to feature. So up at the top here, change it from part to feature, and the feature is your second extrusion. Now it's asking for a direction. I'm going to select the long edge. My distance is going to be 8, and my instance count is going to be length. So again, I changed it from part to feature, chose extrusion 2 as my feature, clicked where it said direction, clicked the long edge. My distance is 8. My instant count, I typed length and then chose it from there. Now I need another direction. So I'm going to go ahead and hit second direction. Now I'm going to select the short edge. Distance is also 8. And my instant count is going to be width. So notice in order to see it, I clicked on one of the other empty areas here so I could see a preview of my pattern. So I have length for the instant count for my first one, and width is my instant count for my second one. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So now I have my little nubs on top. If you know Legos, you know that they're also hollow on the bottom. So to do this, we're going to shell. Shell is to the left of hole. So I'm going to go ahead and select shell. I'm going to click on this bottom face, and my shell thickness is 1.6. So again, shell, clicking on the bottom face, shell thickness 1.6, and then go ahead and accept that. I'm going to flip it around now so I can see my bottom, because my next thing is going to be sketching right on this surface. So now I'm going to select sketch. I'm going to select this surface here that was just exposed when I did my shell. And I'm going to make 2 circles that share the same center point. So the larger circle here is going to be 6.5. This smaller circle, again, I use the same center point for the smaller circle. This one's going to have a diameter of 4.8. So now, again, if you guys, dimension those, if you wait to dimension them, that's okay. You just want to make your 2 circles, one larger than the other. Now I'm going to dimension to the edge. So from the top edge to the center of my circle, that's going to be 7.9. The left edge to the center of my circle is also going to be 7.9. So 2 circles, 4.8 and 6.5, both 7.9 away from the outside edges. Then you go ahead and accept that. And now we're going to extrude. We're going to select the area between the 2 circles. And we're going to change it here from blind to up to face. And the face that we're going to select is our shelled face. So this rectangle on the outside. So again, so you select in between the 2 circles, change it from distance to up to face, and then select the area between the 2 rectangles on this bottom face. And then go ahead and hit accept. Okay, now I'm going to flip it and look at an angle. Doesn't really matter which angle you look at it. We're going to make another rectangular pattern. And this is going to be the last thing that we do. And we're going to have a magic Lego that we can change in an instant. So again, another linear pattern. Also a feature pattern. Our feature is extrusion 3. Going to go ahead and select direction. Click the long edge. Doesn't matter if it's the inside or outside. Distance 8. Instant count in this case is going to be length minus 1. So our distance is the long edge, distance 8, length minus 1 for instant count. Okay, now we need our second direction. Click the short edge. Distance is also 8. Instant width minus 1. And then accept and accept. Again, sometimes you have to hit it twice. So next what we're going to do, I'm going to go and I'm going to double click length. I'm going to change that from a 4 to a 6. And I'm going to hit check. Notice I now have 6 dots here. I'm going to go change my height from high to low. So each time I'm changing this, I'm double clicking it. and I'm changing my value. So now when I hit check, notice now I have a short brick. I have a base. So go ahead and play around with changing length, width, or height. Remember, height can only be high or low, but length and width you can change to any number. If you change your width to 1, I do have one suggestion. Notice how we have this little extrusion here. If you right-click Extrude 3 and then suppress it, you'll have to suppress Extrude 3 and Linear Pattern and hide your sketch. But you'll notice here is a short 1. Hope you guys enjoyed that. See you next time.